All right, so the first song we're going to sing is Amazing Grace. This version I learned at ASP a number of years ago, so it goes to the tune of Peaceful, Easy Feeling by the Eagles. So sing along. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. I got a peaceful, easy feeling. I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing on the ground. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. I got a peaceful, easy feeling. I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing on the ground. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we'd first begun. I got a peaceful, easy feeling. I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing on the ground. All right, another song that I think I sang every time I went to ASP is Lord, I Lift Your Name on High. So I think most of you know it, so sing along. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way, from the earth to the cross, my debt to pay, from the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way, from the earth to the cross, my debt to pay, from the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. All right, the last song I'm going to do, I'm sure all of you know it, is a song called Sanctuary. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming or returning this morning. Sometimes you get what you ask for. I'm always reluctant at times to put myself out and ask for something, but last October, the end of October, Karen and I on a whim guided our husbands, and we decided that we would go to Johnson City, Tennessee to the 50th anniversary party that ASP was hosting for just celebrating the summer ministry of 50 years. We thought that would be just kind of fun, and we agreed to do that. It was a great experience. We listened to Walter, we listened and heard the testimonies of people that were families of Tex Evans and all that kind of stuff. We had a wonderful time. He complained a little bit in the first service about what our weather has been like this winter. It was a horrible day when we were in Johnson City. It was icy. It wasn't quite icy. It was sleety though, and it was they had outdoor activities and things in the afternoon, so we managed to get through lunch and kind of looked up to where the new warehouse was going to be built, and then decided, since we put in 29 years as ASP leaders, that maybe we didn't have to stay through the whole thing and get any colder anymore. But so we were sneaking out and kind of trying to not look like we were leaving early, but we sort of were. And on the steps, as we were leaving, shows up Walter. I don't know if you remember this encounter, but he was there, and we were thanked him for the program, the opportunity to be there. And just on a whim, I turned to him and said, "Are you ever going to be in the Midwest?" And his response I said, "I know St. Luke, I'm sure, speaking for the church, which I have no authority to do, would be happy to host you. We would just love to have you come if you'd like to come." And unexpectedly, his answer was yes. So that brings us to today. And I also know the other time that I met Walter, I'm sure he doesn't remember, was on a work site a few years ago when I was working underneath a termite-infested floor in whatever town it was where the tornadoes went through. West Liberty. And there he showed up on the work site. I was so hot and tired and sweaty at that point. I said, "Nice to meet you, Walter." Yeah, just get me some water. So those were our couple of encounters. But sometimes it is maybe a reminder to all of us. Let's just go ahead and ask and see what God can do in our midst and bring us great blessings and great joy of being able to be together. I told Walter in the coffee hour that his message for me this morning, in my opinion, was worth his whole plane ticket here. So I'm still kind of worked up from what he's already shared. I think the opportunity for us as a church to see ASP on a national level is really important, because sometimes we become focused, even though we've sent work crew after work crew in the last 34 years down to do the work. Sometimes even us, as people who've been involved for so long, might not think about the other projects and the way ASP is being run. We have always firmly believed in the integrity of how ASP uses their staff, how they use their money, the way things are directed. That has not been a question. That is the reason, one of the reasons, other than God's leading, as to why we have stayed with this particular project for so many years. It has built, for all of us, a real incredible feeling of integrity in the project. So I'm just glad. I have his bio here. You want to know real important stuff about Walter? To me, the most important thing about Walter, other than the fact that he came to, let me put my new glasses on, which don't quite work well, came and became the CEO of ASP in 2011. So he's got some years under his belt right now. But he has been Vice President of Church Relations at Carson Newman College in Jefferson City. Moved to Jefferson City or Johnson City?
Yeah, Jefferson City.
Okay, I wanted to change that, but I figured that was probably right. And also worked with the Norton Institute for Congregational Health and led the college's ministry guidance program for those that were called into full-time Christian service. One more little thing about that. Our own Josh Larson, who will be ordained as a commission. Thank you. That's the right Methodist word. In a few weeks in Sun Prairie, he found his calling in his year of work with ASP when he came into their program of discernment for what you want to do with your life. So Josh was an accountant after college. And then through that program, the year-long program with ASP, in the process of discernment, those kind of things that Walter has promoted, found his call to ministry within the United Methodist Church. Okay, but then, here's interesting stuff too. He has a quarter-century ministry of hands-on skill as a journeyman electrician, certified general contractor, mortgage broker, and real estate agent, which doesn't that make sense for something like leading ASP? It's really good to know what you're doing. Wouldn't you wish to have had an electrician on the site other times? Okay. Also, he has a BA from Palm Beach Atlantic University, Master's in Divinity from Midwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, and PhD from Baylor. He also, on the side, has a wife of 37 years and children, grandchildren, and a couple of foster children. So quite a package that we have here. Personally, I think one of his most significant qualifications came this morning in his story of talking about coming up and growing up in poverty and becoming who he is. I think that to me I heard that story last fall, and I think it gives us all encouragement to not put limits on who we are. So that's too long of an introduction, but we're so glad to have Walter share with us for a few more minutes while the brats are finishing up and make sure that we all have lunch together. As soon as he's got a plane to catch at 2:27 in Milwaukee. So he'll be first to go in line, and he looks a little anxious. It's just that plane home. So
we have the video queued up. We're going to watch our latest intro video first, and then I'll say a few words and then open it up for questions, actually. So. When gasoline prices rise, I make one less trip to Starbucks or something. A family living in central Appalachia that's living in poverty, the first thing they usually put off is maintenance on their home.
I truly am disabled. We can't afford to go out and fix the things we truly need to fix, not with my resources nor with the knowledge I had.
I have seen homeowners who weren't able to get to the hospital because they didn't have a safe way to get out of their house.
It was just so unsafe, and it was so hard to heat. And then you walk on the bedroom floor, it was just like walking on a trampoline or something.
We wouldn't even let people come in our old house. Somebody come visit, wouldn't meet them on the porch.
The solution is to fix their homes, to make their homes warm, safe, and dry, where families don't have resources. And those two resources would be materials to do the repairs and other people reaching out in love and care to come and to do the work. There are literally hundreds of thousands of people that serve with ASP every year. They're praying for us. They're raising money for their youth to come serve with us.
Variety of ages and skill levels are welcome to volunteer with ASP. They can donate. They can be an advocate for ASP and spread the word about what it is that we do here.
I think there's something incredibly powerful about the fact that it is routed around young people and empowering them.
The people that come out of our house, they were unreal. It takes somebody special to do this.
Every group has just been godly people, and I just appreciate each one of them more than I know how to say.
We do major repairs now, fixing foundations, adding bathrooms, drilling wells, putting in septic tanks.
ASP does home repair, disaster recovery, new home construction. We have a year-long fellowship program and a junior high and middle school program.
I am so thankful that we can stay here now and, not have any fear of falling through the floor or breaking a leg.
Living in this one is unreal compared to the old one. I mean, I look forward to coming home now.
This kind of work changes lives in a way that's immeasurable.
I feel like I've gained a lot of friendship from the experience, and I really thank God for that.
Memories of helping someone else, getting to know someone else, that's something that stays with you. And that's what I'm going to remember.
I love every one of them, They're God sent. They really are.
ASP has been in existence for over 50 years, and we have affected a lot of lives.
ASP, they changed our whole life. I mean, they really did. It's amazing what these people do.
I wish everyone could experience this, whether it's for a weekend or a week. I'm so glad there's programs like ASP that allow us to walk the talk.
ASP just makes faith come alive in very powerful ways.
A roof is something that is easy to fix. When that roof gives a family a chance to play and learn and love and laugh together, we've done something that is of cosmic importance.
It's on. Okay, how's that? Is that better? All right, thank you. All right. So I meant what I said this morning when I said that as staff and even our summer staff, all we do is facilitate and make possible the work that you do. I mean, the mission of ASP is in the hands of the churches that come and serve year after year after year. And so you all are the backbone of ASP. You are ASP. I'm not ASP. I'm part of ASP. And I like to emphasize that to churches because some of you have never been to Appalachia, but you've been great supporters financially and through emotional support and work here at the church and through your prayers of volunteers that have gone for years and years. And you share just as much in this ministry as those who actually go out and do the work in the field. And I want to thank you for that, because without you, this would not happen. It would never happen. As I said, literally, there are hundreds of thousands of people who support ASP every year. Even though we may only have 16 or 17,000 volunteers out in the field, they are supported by literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of people in their home churches that send them forth to come and serve. So I, first of all, just want to thank you all and help you or let you know that I very well understand the sacrifices that you make to send teams each and every year. And we appreciate that. And I'll thank you on behalf of the families of Central Appalachia. I mean, you've been coming 34 years. You've probably affected the lives of a couple hundred families over those years, and that is significant and has made a difference and an impression on those families that will go from generation to generation. So I just want to thank you, first of all, because you are ASP. Now, I'll tell you what we're doing to facilitate that, though, okay, a little bit this morning. Of course, the core of ASP, and it's our lifeblood, it's our gravitational core, is our summer repair program. That is what we're known for and what we've been known for through much of our history. That's what it started out as in 1969 when Tex had 50 volunteers from local churches around Barberville, by the way. You know, folks don't know that. The first year was really just local churches around Barberville, Kentucky. And then after that, he kind of opened the floodgates to the rest of the country, and, you know, the rest, they say, is history. But the growth through the years is because of the churches that have embraced this ministry and held on to this ministry. I often tell folks, look, we don't recruit volunteers from the main office. We don't recruit volunteers. We recruit churches. Churches recruit volunteers. And so we have you all to thank for our volunteers. But our summer repair ministry is strong. In fact, our numbers are up this year. We're praising God for that, giving Him the glory for that, because, you know, I don't know if you've paid attention, but, you know, there's been a lot of studies, and mainline denominational church attendance has really fallen off over the last 10 years and precipitously over the last 5 years. And that's starting to catch up with us because 98% of our churches that come are mainline denominational churches. We still have about 50-some% of our volunteers are from United Methodist churches, but then we have a lot of Presbyterians, Lutherans, Catholic. We have a few evangelicals, a few Baptists, just enough to make me comfortable. We don't want too many Baptists. That wouldn't make me comfortable as a Baptist. No, I'm just kidding. And people ask me, you know, how do I as a Baptist survive, you know, in a largely mainline denominational organization? And I've had a very wonderful journey in my life of coming from my mom's Pentecostalism all the way to now when people ask me what I am, I tell them, well, I'm a Metho-Baptirian. So I was a Baptist-costal for a while, right? So, yeah, I was Pentecostal, Baptist, and now I'm Metho-Baptirian. I don't know. I might end up being Episcopalian or Congregational someday. Who knows? But it's been a great journey that way. So we're very happy, though. We're up, over 1,000 volunteers for this coming summer, which is a reversal of about a 4-year trend where we were having less and less each year. We're excited about that, but about half of that crowd is due to a new program that you probably heard mentioned in the video. We have a new program called JAM. I love it, JAM. It's just got like energy. ASP is really not good about naming things. We have the summer program. Isn't that very creative? I mean, you know, it's always just been ASP, summer program. Well, now that we're developing other programs, we have to put names on them, because when you say we're going to ASP, it could be a lot of different things. And so JAM is our junior high and middle school program. We piloted it last year and decided to roll it out this year, not in a big way, in kind of a limited way, but we have 450-some junior high and middle schoolers signed up to go to Jonesville during the summer to work on projects, and we are excited about that. And believe it or not, the results of our pilot program last year, these are the comments from group leaders. These middle school and junior hires are better behaved than our high schoolers. See, we thought the opposite was going to happen. But what it is they are so wide-eyed coming out to work, and this is all so new, and we're investing so much faith in them by letting them do construction projects that they pay attention, they want to learn. It was just totally the opposite. I was kind of the naysayer, right? I was like, I don't know if this will work. Well, guess what? They had an incredible week. We had 2 different groups. One, a long-term ASP large group, Vestavia Hills UMC from Birmingham, and then a new group from Western North Carolina that had never experienced with us that were part of the pilot, and it was wonderful. So this summer, 5 out of the 7 weeks at Jonesville are going to be middle schoolers at Jonesville.
And we're excited about it. We think that program will grow. Apparently there's a need for quality programming for junior high and middle schoolers. And we were approached by Vestavia Hills itself and said, can you all do something that we're about to give up on trying to have something for our junior high and middle schoolers. So we have a junior high and middle school program now. We've always had a year-round volunteer program as well. And I don't know, well, I do know one couple in this church spent their 50th anniversary. I mean, is that dedication or what? I mean, come on, you guys. I mean, they were at Guyan Valley in March working with University of Delaware students in our year-round program. So we have a program that goes year-round at our permanent centers. We have in Guyan Valley, Chavies, Kentucky, Jonesville, Virginia, and you can come serve in Johnson City, but it's usually at a temporary site. We don't have a permanent facility there yet. I'll say something about that in just a moment. But we do have a year-round program where we accept groups of almost any size. You can come, and if it's just a couple of you, we'll put you to work as helping hands at one of our centers. And you can come volunteer, and we have a lot of folks that come at spring break and a lot of folks that come at fall break. We have a vision for alternative spring break for colleges to have about 3,000 or 4,000 college students over about a 4-week period in the spring every year come to us. Right now that number is closer to around 800 or so, but it's growing. It's almost doubled in size since I've been there with the number of college students. And so we're going to keep pushing that and trying to grow our spring break program. We even have one group that comes from Chicago every year the week between Christmas and New Year's. It's amazing. And we allow them to do family ministry. This will show we're a little more flexible than I think folks know we are. We let them, if their parents have come, we let them bring children of any age. If their parents have come, and we'll be in control of them on the site. We say any age. We really kind of tell them we would like them to, at least be 4th or 5th grade, right? I mean, after that, someone have to take care of them back at the center. They really couldn't be on site. And so we've allowed this. They come. We have staff. Normally, that's our time off. And so we have staff at the office every year that volunteer time off to come and work with that group. They come down to Johnson City every year and do a lot of work from us, but they're from Chicago. They're called Solid Rock Carpenters. And I was at their board meeting last Thursday morning. Is when I came into town. So we have a year-round program where you can come anytime. We have what's called New Build Appalachia as well. This is where we build new homes for people whose homes are beyond reasonable repair. I mean, sometimes we'll go and inspect a home, and you guys know this because you've worked on some of these in the summer, where we just do patchwork, right? We're just kind of holding that home together for a couple more years for a family because we really can't tear the whole home down and build a new home. Well, we have a vision that maybe someday we will be able to do that. We will be able to build them a new home. And so we've started a program called New Build Appalachia. It's in East Tennessee, okay? That's the only place we operate in the Tri-Cities area. And we build new homes, about 10 or 12 new homes every year in that area, and trying to figure out a model where we can push this out across our service area, across the 5 states we serve in. We will have a new program for New Build that starts in Hancock County, Tennessee. Has anyone served in Hancock in the past? Yeah. Hancock County is the poorest county in Tennessee. And we're working with Mayor Tom there, the county mayor, and we'll start this fall, we will build 11 homes in 12 months there as kind of a pilot project and see how that goes. So we started pushing that program out. Right now we're working with officials and nonprofits in Charleston, West Virginia to help Charleston, West Virginia rebuild what they call the West Side. Has anybody served, we've only started serving there in the last couple of years. Anybody served in Kanawha County? Okay, Kanawha County. It looks like Kanawha, right? And that's probably the way Native Americans said it, Kanawha. But you know, us Southerners, we shorten every word and make it as simple as possible. So it's Kanawha. So if you're ever there and don't want to seem like an outsider, if you ever go through Charleston, say Kanawha, and they'll be impressed that you know how to say it. So, but we're working with them to rebuild the West Side. It used to be the place where everybody grew up, then everybody moved to suburbs, right? There was a lot of blight and things in the area. Last year, they tore down 109 houses on the west side, and they want us to come and do infill to build little houses in between houses that are left there. And we're excited about that. We will probably start that program sometime in 2020. Yeah, these little homes. Yeah, good question. Most of the time, we build a 3-bedroom, 1-bath model. It's 3-bedroom, 1-bath. It's 24 by 36. It's 864 square feet. But it has an open concept through the middle of the home. So it's like one big room that has the kitchen on the back wall, dining and living. So it feels a lot bigger than it is. And we've successfully, over the last 5 years, we've built 170 some of those homes in our different programming. We do build now some 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes, which, by the way, is kind of a American luxury, if I can say that. 2 baths. I mean, we can't think you can do a home with 1 bath, right? No, all the old homes used to only have 1 bathroom, right? And so when people say you got to build a 3-2, I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's just extra resources sometimes. We build a 2-bedroom model, but it's the same square footage. We just leave out one of the walls on the bedroom and it increases living space. So that way the duplication, one after another, works very well for us. But then if you cut off 2 bedrooms of it, They cost what? Probably, depending on where we're building it, probably 50 to 60 grand of our costs into the home. They're probably, most of the time, they appraise at 75 to 85,000 after we're done. They're very simple, not much on them. We are doing a model now where we're doing a covered front porch. We haven't had a covered front porch in the past, but now that we're doing infill work in kind of cities, so it looks and matches the architecture of the cities, we're adding covered porches that really help the aesthetics of the home. We do build a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. It is 24 by 24, and it is really kind of spacious. It's a great little 1-bedroom house. We built a number of those. We did fire recovery effort in Sevier County. Everybody know where Gatlinburg is? We built for low-income families up there. We built a number of 1-bedroom homes. Ernest, we gave him his keys on his 75th birthday. His wife had died just a month before the fire, and then he lost his house and everything in the fire. We built a home for him, gave him his keys on his 75th birthday. He walks in the house and he's doing this, he's crying, and he's like, this is the biggest house I've ever lived in my life. I feel like I have a mansion. And he has a 24 by 24 1-bedroom house. But if you saw where that house was, you would want that house too, because it sits on top of a mountain and you can just see everywhere. It's just gorgeous. His family has lived on that mountain for 80 years. The road is named after his grandfather, and it's the old family homestead that we built. So we do new construction. So if you ever want to come frame up walls and do something like that, we use volunteers on our new homes to do what we call framing and finishing. So you can come up and frame up a home, put wrap on it, even do siding and put the metal roof on if you want, install windows and doors if you want. And then later we need folks to come back to put in flooring, to do the trim in the home, to paint, and then to build porches and decks. And so anytime you got a group, 5, 6, that want to come on down sometime and help us build a home, just let us know. You're more than welcome to come and do that. We also have a disaster recovery program now that is focused solely upon Central Appalachia. In Central Appalachia, it's not if a disaster will happen. It's always when will a disaster happen, especially flooding. Flooding happens everywhere in Central Appalachia. And where do most of low-income people live in these towns? Right down on the lowland by the river, right? I mean, a lot of them in the small towns. And so we got started in disaster recovery in our home county of Washington County. We responded to what was called the Dry Creek flood. A little irony there, Dry Creek flood. It was about a 12-foot wide little creek that became 600 yards wide with one of those 1,000-year rains that seem to come every 3 years now, right? And so we rebuilt 23 homes in 45 weeks. It was the first time we built new homes that way. The mayor of the county came to me and said, would you consider building for these homes? There's no FEMA money. None of them had flood insurance. They're totally stranded. And I said, yes. I didn't know what we were going to do, how we were going to do it. In 45 weeks, we completed 23 homes and gave the keys to the homeowners at no cost to them. The local newspaper had a headline, Johnson City newspaper called it The Miracle at Dry Creek. And I'm like, golly, we can build new homes and build them fast and raise money for them. So we started New Build Appalachia after that disaster recovery. As some of you saw the big flood, June 23rd, 2016 in West Virginia, we have been the #1 nonprofit in responding to disaster recovery in West Virginia. At one time, ASP, listen to this, sounds really weird to say this. At one time, ASP was the largest new home builder in West Virginia. Yep. We built 72 new homes in a little over 60 months in West Virginia as a result of the floods there. We have more work to do there. Right now we have a little hang-up with the state of West Virginia. It was all fun when we were raising our own money, but then when you start using public money, things just get crazy. And the state of West Virginia, I don't know if you've been reading the newspapers, but wow. There are two governments on FEMA's watch list and HUD's watch list, Puerto Rico and West Virginia. And it's because of not being able to spend the money. We got into a program, 7 state officials were fired or resigned because of corruption. So pray for West Virginia. We got more work to do there, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to because of the funding idea. So there you are. So here, this is our programming that you can participate in. You can do disaster recovery, you can do new build, you can do year-round, or you can be a group leader or a volunteer in summer program. So those are the 4 main opportunities to serve if you want to come serve. We also have, that's been mentioned though, our Fellows program. This is where someone out of high school, about to go to college, or during college, or right after college, can come and serve with us for a year, and they live in community and they go through a vocational clarification curriculum to help them understand what God wants them to be in life. And this is what Josh went through. And it's a wonderful opportunity. In fact, I just talked to one of your youth that's a junior that's not quite sure what she wants to do. Over in Fellowship Hall, if you're her parents, don't throw rocks at me. But I did suggest that if she still doesn't know what she wants to do when she graduates, come spend a year with us, and then maybe she'll know what she wants to major in and go to school after that. Or go to college, get a very general education, and then come spend a year with us, and then figure out what she wants to do, and maybe go get a master's that specializes in the area. So it's a great program. You all have already been touched and affected by that program. We would love to have more and more young people apply for that as well. So that's our programs. Now, just a quick word about the future. That took longer than I expected. A quick word about the future. We have a new strategic plan just adopted last year. It's the second one since I've been there, and this is my 9th year. And you're like, wow, 2 strategic plans. And well, the environment is changing so quickly. There's just no way we could update our old plan. We had to do a new plan. And part of our long-range planning is to make our year-round program more successful than it's been. It's kind of built off our summer program model, and we realize that for adults, we have to do some things differently. And so you'll see some changes there in the upcoming couple years. We are building a center next door. We've never had a residential center where our main office is. And so we bought the 8 acres next door to where our headquarters are, and we're building what we call a mega center there. And the reason for that is for the different programs we want to do there, they're more community-based, based upon the resources and needs that are in the Tri-Cities area of Eastern Tennessee. We're going to do things like special kids weeks, things like that there that we can't do out when we rent a temporary facility. We can't bring special kids in. We're going to have specialized adult programs there. But the other thing we're going to do is we're going to try to reach out to some of these, what they call mega and giga churches. The statistics show the folks who are leaving mainline denominational churches, about half of them are becoming what are called nuns, but the other half are joining these large mega churches, I guess, where they can get lost. I'm not a big mega church fan, okay? But these churches, over the last years, younger evangelicals are much more concerned with social justice and social issues than their parents are. Much more concerned. And so they're looking for opportunities to serve in organizations that have great values. But their needs are different. They like to come and all stay together. I mean, we've served a couple of these churches, and so this facility will have a total of about 230 beds. We can have 230 volunteers at one time. And so it'll be kind of like our mega church center during the summer, where we have a program reaching out to these churches and able to satisfy their needs. On the property next door, we're also building transitional housing for families that have been displaced by fire or thrown out of their homes by their landlord or whatever. We're going to build some houses there for that. We're going to build a training center next door. We're going to get involved in workforce development. We're going to work with some of our families. The State Department of Labor wants us to train people in general construction skills. Do you get trained in general construction skills when you come volunteer with ASP? That's for sure, right? And they want people to have this so they can be handymen, janitors, maintenance people. And so they're willing to help us, help some of our families learn a marketable skill. And we'll be able to do that at our headquarters. So there's lots of those kind of things we're looking at. We're looking at a small church. We're looking at mega church program. We're looking at a small church program where junior high and middle school can serve with high school students. Because we have small churches that can only do one youth trip. And their youth is what? Junior high and middle school and high school together. And they can't do ASP because we haven't been allowing middle schoolers or junior hires to come along. So this year we're piloting a program where they can both come together. And so we'll see where that goes. So we have some of those things in our future. I mean, I could talk a lot about a lot of our plans, but we have 5 or 6 minutes left before the brats are ready. And I got to have some of those before I go. Anybody bring any cheese? I mean, I can't leave Wisconsin without eating some cheese either. But I'll stop. When I get in these informational modes, I can just drone on, and I know it might not be as interesting to you, but I just love talking about all the things we're doing. ASP is a great place. Our heart and soul hadn't changed, right? I mean, it is an incredible culture, incredible values, wonderful people, wonderful churches. I have the best job in the world. I really do. I get to hang around incredible staff. We get to hire incredible college students in the summer. I get to meet incredible families all year long, and I get to meet folks like you that come out on work sites and come speak at your churches. What more could a guy want, right? It's an incredible job that I have, the best job in the world, and I plan on keeping it as long as I can so far. But anyway, God's been good. What are your questions? What jumps out at you right now that you would like to ask? By the way, you're welcome to also sponsor homes. You asked the size. What's a private sponsorship? About half our costs. So it's about $25,000 for a private sponsor. Then we bring $25,000 of money that we get grant-wise and put that together and build a home. So I fixed that quickly. Did you see that? No, just like that. So, all right. What questions do you have? Oh, come on. You got to have questions. If not, I'll have to tell a story. So I love telling stories. So, yes.
So I love the fact that you are giving these people these new homes and these new creations. How have you measured the impact of their families?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, boy, now you've landed on something I really love. All right, so first of all, they cannot mortgage or sell a home or rent it or do any significant additions or improvements to the home for 5 years. Okay? If they end up having to sell it, then it's a 20% decreasing value of the house. And so if they end up selling it, then they have to kick some money to us. So that's the way we keep people from just turning something over on us, right? But after 5 years, they have 100% equity. I don't have 100% equity. And you know what? That's our biggest impact. The home is not the biggest impact. The biggest impact is that family has something that they probably never had for generations. It's called wealth. And we have incredible stories. We have a single mom who went back. She came to us because within the 5-year period she was wanting to sell the home, and we're like, tell us why. She said, well, I didn't have a house payment or a rent payment, so I took that money and went back to school. And I got my nursing degree. And I have an opportunity to go to Louisiana to work. And we said, that sounds great. She came back 2 days later and said, you know, I'm not going to move. I'm going to go ahead and do my nurse practitioner degree where I know I can get a job right here at home and stay right here. We've had families start garage door company, an HVAC company, send kids to college. I mean, the issue, the reason most folks can't get out of poverty, so to speak, is because they don't have what they need to leverage getting out financially most of the time. Most of us do somehow, either through savings because we've had good work, or we have capital in our home that we can borrow against and do things. Well, guess what? These folks finally have some capital. And the success stories are incredible, incredible. I would say out of the 170 some homes that we've built, I can name 3 people we shouldn't have built for. For me, that's just the price of doing business. I think that is an incredible success rate. I would rather operate by our model and not just give people a warm, safe, dry place to live. We don't put a mortgage on their head. We give them larger capacity so that they can buy the medicines they need, they can get the education they need, they can invest in things to change their future. And so I love our model. It's not a popular model today. I mean, the model today is, it's not really affordable housing, it's affordable financing. Most of the affordable house, because people end up with almost 100% mortgage, and after 5 years, they may have 2% equity in their home. With us, after 5 years, they have 100%. And they have to take, with us, they actually have to take a financial and homeowner education class that helps them understand what they're going to run into with having wealth for the first time. So our biggest fear is that adult children will cannibalize parents because of drug habits after the 5 years. The opioid crisis is devastating. And that's still a big fear that we're going to look to see. But we're studying it actually right now. We have a small college in East Tennessee that is interviewing every family we've built a home for in East Tennessee. So, all right. Other questions? Can I tell you a quick story? Just a quick one. 2 miles from our office, not even 2 miles from our office, we discovered Becky was an eye-opener for us. She was living up, hanging off of a ridge, really, in a little, I got to call it a shack. We don't use that kind of terminology, right? Sensitivity around families. But it was a shack that she and her sister had built 22, 23 years before by stealing lumber from work sites, and they cut it with chainsaw. We called it the chainsaw house. No running water. There was a temporary pole that they'd run a cord in to the side. She cooked stuff in a old microwave and a hot plate. She had a little outhouse over on the side. She walked down the hill to a neighbor's house, all the way down the hill, and filled up empty milk jugs with water to have water. She lived that way for over 22 years. We found her 2 miles from our headquarters. We were like, this cannot exist. So we went in with Becky's permission, and we basically built a house around her house. We added a kitchen, we added a bathroom, we added a bedroom, we fixed up the living area, we drilled a very expensive well, because it's up on the mountain, right? Very expensive well. I think the county let us cheat on our perk test so we could put a septic tank in. I mean, honestly, how we got a septic permit, it's a miracle of God. We put in a septic tank for her. Becky was at our Thursday night picnic, and I sat next to her and I said, Miss Becky, tell me, what does the work that we're doing mean for you? And she looked at me and she said, with tears in her eyes, she said, it means I can bake cookies with my grandkids. Jeez. We take so many things for granted, don't we? Just for granted. So what happened? We dedicated Becky's house. Our staff, we dedicated it right before Thanksgiving. Our staff is, we can't let, so they went out and got all the cooking utensils and everything she would need. Then they went and shopped and filled her cabinets with food and got her a big old turkey. And Becky did two things this happened like the day before Thanksgiving, right? Becky did two things. First, she took a shower in her home for the first time in 22 years. And then that next morning, she got up and fixed the first Thanksgiving dinner for her family that she had fixed in over 22 years. 2 miles from our office. Just amazing. Amazing. It's worth doing just for that, isn't it? I mean, it's just incredible. All right, we're like 4 minutes late, but I'll take another question. Oh, no questions? You know, Becky said on film, you might have seen this if you watched one of our films. You know what she said one time? She said, I thank God every day for ASP because now I have a normal home like everyone else does. Wow. Thank God for normal homes, right? I wish I'd grown up in a normal home. Of course, I probably wouldn't be who I am today. I thank God for my upbringing. I never had much, and I've never wanted much because of that. And God's been good. So, other questions? Come on. I feel like you got plenty of them, but you're worried about the time. Yep. I mean, I just got to leave by noon, and I can eat in 25 minutes. I guarantee it. So, yes.
If you find that the verse of Jesus said you always have the poor with
Right.
you, so why bother?
Yeah, there are some people that interpret it that way. Yeah. 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 No, I mean, so when you look at poverty in this country, there's about 20% of those living in poverty that are in what we call chronic poverty. About 20% of those. My experience of those living in chronic poverty is about, probably 2 out of 10 of those in chronic poverty, their poverty is self-inflicted. In other words, personal choices, things that they've done, drug addictions, stuff like that. So I think because of the brokenness of this world, Jesus was saying there are some people that just aren't going to be able to cope in the world in which we live. And that there will be some people that we will always have to reach out and take care of, which is a good thing for us, not a bad thing. I mean, how do you learn compassion if there aren't people in need that you need to serve? And I think when you serve, it humbles your heart to where you're able to receive compassion as well, because we're all needy people in some way. I mean, Mother Teresa has it nailed about our country, right? I mean, she said economic poverty is not the worst thing. That there's a lot of people in the United States serve a worse poverty, a poverty of soul. And I think maybe we ought to recognize our poverty of soul in this country, and it might help us understand that living in poverty is not the worst thing in the world, but poverty is still a killer. It's horrible. Now, I see when Jesus said that, I see it as a call to action as much as anything, though. I mean, they're always going to be there, so what does that mean? Those of us who have need to be able to share willingly and often while we still worship God, right? Because the choice there was, spending time with Jesus, right? And I think it just goes hand in hand. So it's a tough one. Some people use that as an excuse, though. And they also use it, they take the minority. Notice I said 20% are chronic poverty, and about 20% of that 20% are self-inflicted. So do the math. I mean, the overwhelming majority of people living in poverty is of no fault of their own. But yet, some people will use that small minority where it is their fault and use that as an excuse to help none who are living in poverty. And I find that not just sad, but it angers me. Sinful. I would use that word, sinful. Yes. Other questions? All right. We're going to go eat. Lord bless you. Huh? Oh, okay. Oh, thank you.
What you just ended with about sharing is a great segue into why I have this little basket in my hand. You haven't come to ask for money, and but we know every Sunday when Cindy stands here and says, "Thank you for your generosity," we all know that this is a very generous congregation and friends of our congregation. And this is an opportunity. I know that ASP will be funded for all those. Who's going to ASP this year? Just raise your hand. These are all people that are going to our summer program. And that will be funded. They're still raising some money to do that. But an opportunity to share our generosity above and beyond our group in Sheboygan is what this is for. And I'm going to leave it here, or we'll take it to Fellowship Hall. And you may not come prepared today to put something in this basket that will go beyond Sheboygan. It will go to the general ASP, but know that through our office, there's always a way to extend your generosity above and beyond what is happening right now in our church. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
It's been wonderful, and I know that there are also opportunities for individuals to talk to you about some sharing that, might go, I don't know if you want to say.
By the way, individuals, we have a program called Helping Hands, and you're always welcome to come help us some way, either at one of our centers, at the main office. If you want to come and just be our receptionist for a week, you're welcome to come do that. I mean, we don't ever want to turn anyone down who wants to come serve in any way. So just know, I know a couple of you said, I'm too old to go out. Yeah, maybe volunteering on a work site can't be done for you, but believe me, we can find something for you to do, something that's meaningful and will help us. So just know that you can always be part of that, always.
Thank you for being here. So let us, before we go to Fellowship Hall to eat, why don't we'll pray together in here, and then just you can go and be in line in Fellowship Hall. Thank you, God, for ASP. Thank you for this opportunity to have Walter come to Sheboygan to share with us some things we may not have known about ASP, or just to remind us of all of the ways that we can be in service to you, God. We ask you to bless the food we are about to eat, conversations, and time that we spend together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you all so much. Thank you. It was a lot of fun.